Okay. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. Give me a replay, gang, if you're checking out the replay. I am fresh back and I hope you feel good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a revenue acceleration expert. Basically means I'm here to help you make more business with your money. Sometimes that comes down to skill set. Sometimes we go through a little bit of heart set so you can not just get to the science of achievement, but also the art of fulfillment. And sometimes we straight up give you mindset. I would say this morning's class falls underneath the topic of mindset because we're going to talk about 5 different ways entrepreneurs can turn jealousy into joy. I hope that feels good to you. Rep your city right now. Let them know where you checking in from. What kind of business do you have? How does it help people? And while you're doing that, I'm going to call in on the live line. Let's get it, y'all.
You have something special. You have greatness in you. Oh, this is Les Brown, and you're in the right place at the right time because we're going to bring the millionaire out of you.
Please enter your...
Let's get it.
Thank you. Please announce yourself. All participants are muted. Entry and exit tones are off.
Okay. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope you feel really, really good this morning. My name is Haziq Ali, and today I want to talk to you about your philosophy. That's right. You know, we teach something that we call the lifestyle syntax, which basically means if you don't like your lifestyle, you can't just change your lifestyle out the blue. What you got to do is look backwards at your results, because it's your results to give you your lifestyle. But what if you don't like your results? Oh, Haziq, I ain't so happy about my results. Well, what you got to do is look backwards. You can't just start with your results. You got to look backwards at your activity. Now you say, oh man, but Haziq, I really don't like the kind of activity I'm putting in. Well, you can't just start with activity, which is the fatal mistake most people make. You got to look backwards at your attitude. You say, oh, well, Haziq, I don't really like my attitude. Well, you can't just start with your attitude. You got to look backwards at your philosophy. Another way to say that is you got to be more if you want to do more so you can have more. Can somebody give me that in the comments? You got to be more so you can do more if you want to have more. Does that make sense, Daryl? Let them know, Kenya. You got to be more if you want to do more so you can have more, Wyona. What's up, Crystal? Yeah, good morning, Yuli. Let's get it, Samad. Yeah, you got to be more if you want to do more so you can have more. I know that sounds really, really simple, but what are you becoming? It's your philosophy that's helping you decide what you're becoming, Miss Mandy, Coach Flono. It's all about your philosophy. It's all about how do you process information? How do you see this world? Is this world a game? Is life war? Is this all a big chess game? Is this something where, you know, it's a dog eat dog world? Is it a world where it's all for one, one for all? What is your philosophy? And what I want to ask you about this morning is, do you ever feel stuck? You ever feel stuck, millionaires? Keep it real with me. Keep it real with me. Do you ever feel stuck? Like your soul wants to be doing something other than what you're actually doing, even if you're not even sure what that is. Sometimes we know what our hearts are craving, millionaires, and sometimes we're completely oblivious. Other times we just seem to catch glimmers or we catch a little whisper. But you know, one thing you can follow to your purpose, you can follow jealousy. I know that sounds crazy. Our modern world doesn't exactly prioritize our heart's desires over our to-do list. This world right here says you better get some money so you can pay your bills or you're going to be homeless, right? You're going to be out here in a survival mode for real. And that makes the messages from our souls get downright lost, right? Squashed, crushed in the dust. We are generally in this school system, in this education system, not incentivized too much to pay attention to the knocks of desire. Pay attention to what our whole being craves. But have you ever considered accessing it through jealousy? I was reading this author who was talking about what a shock it was when she discovered that she really wanted to get a yoga certification. I mean, she'd been doing yoga for 15 years, right? And threatening herself in her head that she was going to get her yoga teacher certification, but she never did it. And so she kept on noticing that she was critiquing other yoga teachers, right? She was, especially if they were newer at the game, she sat in there and just became like a little expert critic, right? And after the 10th time, when she went in there like, sheesh, I know I could have taught a better class than that, she was struck with this awareness that she was actually jealous. Can anybody relate to that? Right? She might have been able to teach a better class, but nobody would ever know it, including her. She found herself stuck in jealousy. They had taken the leap to go get the training. They had taken a leap to go get the certifications. They had taken a leap to put themselves out there. But she hadn't, and this made her feel jealous. Millionaires, do you know the same thing can happen even with your dreams of being a juggler, your dreams of being a writer, your dreams of having a top rank in some MLM company? You hear what I'm saying to you? Sometimes you're reading a book and you're like, yo, if this could get published, I know I can write a bestseller, right? But you ain't writing nothing but tweets. You ain't writing nothing but captions underneath your pictures. Maybe it's time for you to join a creativity class. Maybe it's time for you to join something different that'll transform you. Because there you are, jealous. Once again, there's this book called The Artist's Way. The two biggest books I recommend to anybody out there who's an artist. And as a matter of fact, if you're an entrepreneur, then you are. One is called The War of Art by a guy named James Pressfield, not The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I said The War of Art by a guy named James Pressfield. And then there's another really good book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And The Artist's Way tells us that we're jealous when we're not expressing our own creative gifts. We're jealous when we ain't living what we came here to do. And that envy gets louder and louder the more we ignore it. And I know it sounds so easy. Just go and do it, right? But a lot of times we have creative blocks. All kinds of stuff got put in us by authority figures when we were little. You know, you always hear me say parents, preachers, teachers, and well-meaning but underachieving friends. But the good news is there are all kinds of practices that you can put into play where you can learn to play again if you want, where you can learn to be more creative again if you want. So I'm going to give you 5 different ways that you can let jealousy kind of lead you to your passion, lead you to your joy. You guys ready? Does it sound fun? Does it sound fun, y'all? That's right, Willette. Be more so you can do more, and then you'll have more. You got to be more if you want to do more so you can have more. See, what we're talking about is your philosophy. Your philosophy is how you become more or become less. You ever heard somebody say you can tell the size of a man, you can tell the size of a woman by the size of the problem that knocks them off their square? Well, that's because once you become more, a lot of this stuff is small thing to a giant. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right, so here's key number 1. Here's key number 1. Become aware. Become aware. Somebody give me that in the comments. That's number 1. Become aware. Start noticing, millionaires, what gives you even the slightest little twinge of envy. When you have the inclination to talk down on somebody, put down somebody else's efforts. When you have this small, quite human, but also quite petty inclination to tear somebody else's building down so yours starts to look taller. Not actually be taller, not actually get taller, not actually build it taller. It just looks taller because you knocked down the other buildings that's around it. Huh? You know, somebody come up to you like, I could have did that. You're like, yeah, but you didn't. Right? What they mean, I could have did that. That's jealousy, right? Must be nice. That's jealousy, right? Check it out. If you feel some kind of way, that can be a great window into where you want to go. Am I making sense? Sometimes we don't even allow ourselves to admit we're jealous, right? Or sometimes we adopt this air of superiority, right? That's the flip side of the coin. You know, one side of the coin is like, we're not good enough. And the other side of the coin is we better than them, right? Like her squashing her initial jealousy of the new yoga teachers by saying, I don't want to just be a yoga teacher. Now she's like, she considers teaching yoga one of the highest callings. She treats that with the highest regard. But back when she was hating, it was like, I don't want to be just a yoga teacher. The devil's a lie. That's exactly what you want to do, right? What happens is we're brought up to value success, but not process. You hear what I'm saying to you? We're taught to love success, but ignore process. So now our identity is wrapped up in high achieving, money making lifestyle. And what that'll do is have you doing things for money that really don't do your heart no good, right? But once you allow yourself to admit what you're jealous of, once you allow yourself to admit and become aware of why this person makes you feel that way. What is it that you perceive about the way they live in? What is it you perceive about the things that they've done? What is it you perceive about who they are that makes you feel some kind of way? I'm telling you, right behind that thought is an insane wave of freedom. If you find a place inside where there's joy, then the joy will burn out the pain. You hear what I'm saying to you? Become aware. That's number 2. Here's the second one I got for you. Y'all with me? Here's the second one I got for you. You with me? Move toward the jealousy, not away from it. What do we mean by that? Move toward the jealousy, not away. See, usually what we want to do as human beings is we want to get away from these uncomfortable feelings as fast as we can, right? But what I'm suggesting this morning is next time, try leaning in a little bit. Lean in a little bit. Ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me, right? Engage the person you're jealous of. Ask for their advice. Ask for information about their accomplishment, right? What if you ask them how they did this? What if you let them think of their life as a movie? So now they want to chop up game with you for free. What if you took them out to Starbucks? What if you took them out? What if you had I had a brother, my man, Uncle Frank. He actually came to me. He's like, man, Hazik, I didn't like you for years, man. And I just wanted to take you out to eat, man, so we could talk about it because I have no idea. You never did nothing to me. You've never been nothing but kind, but I did not like you, man. And I couldn't figure out why. Man, what a conversation we had after that. What a conversation we had after that. Millionaires, people who are actually practicing what brings them joy usually love to talk about it. And when we're secure in knowing that we on our own path, we don't mind hollering at them. We don't mind. We not only that, but if we're the one that's living in our, we don't mind sharing that with other people. Matter of fact, we love doing it. Keep that in mind when you find somebody else that loves what they do. These people can be an encouraging resource instead of something that makes you feel some kind of way. Here's the third step I got for you. Take one tiny step. Yeah, Samad, that was number 2. Move toward the jealousy. Move toward the jealousy instead of moving away. And here's number 3. Take one tiny step. Let's go, Ken. Take one tiny step. Let's go, Whitehead. Let's go, Mr. Whitehead. Take one tiny step. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah, Angel. You know we on the morning line this morning, Queen. Let's go. All right, here's number 3. Take one tiny step. A lot of times we're stopped from pursuing our dreams because we think we don't know how, y'all. But there's always one little step we can take. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you take a journey of 1,000 miles? It starts with the first tiny step. And millionaires, if we ask the universe to show it to us, usually it arrives right on our doorstep. Take one tiny step. Can somebody give me that? Take one tiny step. If you're jealous, going back to the art world, right? If you're jealous of them at the local open mic, or you jealous of them over there at the local art show, and they making these paintings and stuff, check it out. You can spend 20 minutes this week with your paintbrush, right? If you're jealous of that public speaker, you can go and join a Toastmasters club, can't you? You can go join a prison ministry, can't you? If you're jealous of this insanely cool dinner party host, you can have a friend over for dinner, right? You can have a friend over for a meal. You can take one tiny step. What do you really want to do, millionaire? What's one tiny step you can take towards this? Oh, you say, well, my dreams have to do with achievement. I can't just, will myself the results. No, but here's what you can do. You can learn one skill that's holding you back. What is one skill that if you had it by this time next year, your bank account will look different? Oh, Hazik, I want to get better at follow-up. Oh, Hazik, I want to get better at building rapport. Oh, listen, I want to get really good at being able to start conversations with strangers that allow me to present my business. I'm talking about whatever skill you want to get better at. You can just set a goal to take one tiny step towards that today. That one tiny step might be asking somebody who's already good at it for some advice. That one tiny step might be reading for 15 minutes a book that can break that skill set down to you. That one tiny step might be getting some gym clothes. Maybe next week you're going to start going to the gym, but today you just start by buying a cute workout outfit that you know you're going to feel good and look good in. You hear me? One tiny step. Somebody give it to me. One tiny step. Appreciate that, Willette. One tiny step. Let's go. Here's number 4. Take yourself out to play. Take yourself out to play. Take yourself out to play. What do we mean by that? What we're saying is, I dare you, set aside an hour or so this week for a personal play date. What's a personal play date? This is where you resist the temptation to invite friends. This is where you resist the temptation and spend a bunch of time on the phone. This is where you don't cancel at the last minute in favor of something that's more important, right? Nah. This is as highly as picking, you prioritize this one as high as picking up the kids from the daycare center. This one's as high as you going to work for that boss you barely like, right? Check it out, y'all. You could call this an artist date. You could call this a self-love date. Ask your heart what you want to do and do that. And this can be hard. Millionaires, none of us are taught that this is even an honorable thing to do, right? You will ask your heart what to do. You know, a lot of us got our parents' voices in our head like, your heart? You listening to your heart? Can you imagine your dad? Can you imagine talking to your dad? You know what I'm saying? You out here broke. I wish my son would come to me like I'm trying to listen to my heart. He tried to use some advice I gave him the other day, talking about like how, yeah, Dad, but you said I have time to live so many lives. I'm like, yeah, but you better get started on one of them now. All I'm saying, y'all, is that we as parents don't mean no harm, right? We don't mean no harm, kind of like, you know, our kids come to us. We just want them to be safe. We want them to be able to earn a living. We want them to be a contributing member of society, right? But what happens is eventually those children become adults and we have to reteach ourselves to play. We have to reteach ourselves to listen to our intuition, to listen to that calling on our lives. We'll get to a point where we feel so disconnected from our creativity that we start feeling like we need to live through our children. Can I get a witness? Right? Millionaires, all I'm saying is if you ask your heart, you'd be surprised what kind of answers you get. Here's number 5. Find at least one person to be an accountability partner with. And for the purposes of this morning, I'm going to say a mutual cheerleader. Find at least one person you can be a mutual cheerleader with. One other person you can talk to about your dreams. One other person you can talk to about your fears, which is just as important. You hear me? You know, I don't know if you guys ever heard it, but geese, you know, you're watching geese fly. They fly faster and further in formation by a total of like 70%. 70% faster. They get 70% further because they're flying in formation. Look, it's no different than us. It's no different with us, millionaires. You got to get to a place where you got a squad around you that normalizes achievement, a squad around you that normalizes a new standard for you. Millionaires, that's going to make your standards naturally begin to rise. And the easiest way to change your life is to raise your minimums, raise your standards. A lot of times taking action to pursue our dreams brings up what they call in the War of Art, the book I was talking to you about earlier, they call it resistance. Our brains want to keep us comfortable. You hear me? And stepping into new roles can kind of trigger some of that anxiety. Those thoughts like we're not good enough, we ain't ready yet, right? We couldn't possibly do that. On and on and on. This stuff is triggered by our insecurity. But if you have a champion around you, Miss Mandy, it can start to mitigate some of that. Find and keep company with people who support what you're exploring. Find and keep company with people who support what you're creating, and avoid the haters. You got to cut the haters out, especially when you're in those early stages and you protecting your little egg, and any slight crack could kill it, right? Sometimes it's like when you're barely able to keep that thing alive yourself, the last thing you need is somebody coming along stomping on it. But the thing is, once we get to a place where we feel strong in our dream, now we're strong enough to support somebody else's. But just like it can be hard to be supportive of other people's dreams when you ain't pursuing your own, can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? That might be worth right. It's hard, y'all. It's hard to be supportive of somebody else's dreams when you ignoring your own. What you think they going through when they start hating on you? You hear me? It can be hard, man. But just like that's hard, it's also hard for you to not support somebody else's dreams when you are pursuing your own. The more you become everything you can be, you're going to start becoming more and more of a bright light in this world that encourages others to turn up. But sometimes we just don't know how. Sometimes they just don't know how. So you can't take it personal. A lot of the people, a lot of times the people we hope are going to cheerlead us the most, our family and friends, they the main ones that don't understand or they ain't able to. And that's okay, millionaires. Be cool with that. Hold your heart's exploration. Protect your heart's desires until you're ready to show everybody. It's cool. But all I want you to think about is that when you're jealous and you don't pay attention, right? It starts to nibble away at your soul, man. It starts to make you bitter instead of better. Now instead of us creating a joyful life, we sitting around here talking about how they ain't that happy for real. They ain't all that. They ain't all that. Bartender, pour me another drink. You get me? Now we trading their happy life for happy hour. Creativity is next to godliness, y'all. Creativity don't necessarily mean art. Creativity is how we create our lives. It's the lifestyle we get to harvest from letting our heart lead, letting our soul lead the way. Our creativity is a beautiful thing, and a lot of times the catalyst for it comes from the weirdest places. Do y'all know the story of the catfish? When I was in Hawaii and whatnot, I heard this story about how there had been this guy, he'd fallen in love with this girl. She was miles and miles away, and they'd been writing letters to each other and stuff. And finally, he tries to come and visit her. And this is after years of bonding with the girl, and she would make these beautiful paintings, and then he would go and sell them and send back the money and all of that. So finally, he gets up his gumption and he's going to meet the girl. This is the original catfish story, y'all. And he shows up and they're like, oh, she's gone. He's like, what do you mean she's gone? You know what I mean? He's like, oh, she went off somewhere, et cetera, and so forth. He's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm just going to wait around and wait for her. I'll just go back to my hotel. I'll come back, et cetera, and so forth. So he comes back. And long story short, the girl never shows up. And the parents break it down to him. Oh, I'm sorry. That was me. It was writing you. He's like, yo, but we was having, phone relations and everything. I know his kids listening and stuff. It's like, what do you mean? Like the girl doesn't exist? You knew your wife has been writing me these letters all this time? And the husband was like, yeah. He's like, we have nothing. I mean, look around in this town. We got nothing like that, but you was making money selling the paintings, right? He was like, yeah. He's like, let me tell you the story about the fish market. He was like, the fish were getting sent from China, and America had to send stuff back and then China was sending fish to America. We had this big trade, but what happened was when the fish would get here, it would be all mushy. So what they started doing was putting catfish in the barrel with it, because the catfish would chase the other fish around, and then the fish would stay tender, the fish would stay muscular, it wouldn't stay all like dying. And he was like, this was your catfish. This is the catfish that made you stay strong. All I'm saying to you this morning is jealousy just might be the catfish. It just might be the thing that motivates you to get out here. With this guy, he was motivated to sell this art, right? because he was motivated by love. He had fallen in love with this girl through the letters and whatnot. And then, you know, he wants to do anything to help her and her family. So he's going off selling the art. He's never even met this girl, right? But in the meantime, he's becoming an art dealer. He's making all of this money off the art and whatnot. Sometimes motivation comes from the wildest places, y'all. You hear me? And jealousy just might lead you to your joy. All right, y'all. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Let's get it. Call in right now. We about to get busy. If your phone line tries to charge you, then just text message call me to the same number, 667-776-4961. Again, that's 667-776-9461, not 4961, 9461. Win one. 667-776-WIN1. Text message that number right now. Let's get busy, y'all. Repeat after me. I am so